Join us this episode of Chuffed Adventures as we set up for a surgery day at Ensenada Village before battling the weather to continue our journey around the islands. As we prepared to head to shore, some dark clouds were rolling into the bay. Our launcher arrived only an hour late, which is quite punctual by island standards, and we're on our way to the village of Ensenada to host a surgery day. Thankfully, it wasn't a long ride in, and we made it to shore just in time to be drenched by the rain.
The operation table is being cleaned out in the rain. Is that the waking up station?
That's the waking up station.
Recovery area.
Recovery area. Yes. Done. Ooh, we're starting.
Pretty much. The first medication needs like 10 or 15 minutes to kind of kick in, so if we give it to her now, we can kind of finalise the other stuff.
Oh, cool.
And actually it'd be good to even get the first two, because then we can give both their injections and be ready. Ella está a operarse?
Sí.
You got it? Well done, baby.
What did you give her? The anesthetic?
No, it's just a
sedative.
Primera inyección es para tranquilo, calma. Entonces, segunda inyección se duerma.
Oh, it's not that bad. So that's her anesthetic injection, and we're also preparing some injections that Joel can continue giving while they're under anesthetic as little top-ups over the primary injection. The surgery tends to take 20 to 30 minutes, so he often needs to top up just a little bit of anesthesia every 5 minutes or so.
Okay. The next patient is already waiting. Making sure staying off the blanket. Oh!
Better on there than on the table.
Like, oh!
Could be worse. We'd like to say another big thank you to Nika from White Spot Pirates for filming our surgery day, and just a warning, there are surgery scenes ahead. And like I said, now that she's had an... You happy if I cut, Joel?
Yeah.
At times, fieldwork can get frustrating. With almost no light, a lot of rain and a smaller patient, we made adjustments along the way and have certainly learned to work together.
He's like, and how did I get into this?
As the surgery continued, Joel monitored the anaesthetic, preparing and administering more as needed to maintain a nice plane of anaesthesia. The space surgeries can take some time, so we had locals swapping light duties, upgrading to a more mature mind for the particularly gross parts.
Gonna get it's like ta-da! First doggy done! Cut it in with a needle and
Yeah, so just like a regular tattoo, you just take it prison style, just poke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the V's just for us for vet tails, but
tattooing
the ears, like an international sign that the dog's been castrated or spayed, so that other vets don't try to do an operation, because especially with the females, it's really hard to tell sometimes, you know, a year or 2 years later whether they've had it.
I also had fun explaining certain things in my broken Spanish.
Y esta es una infección, es sexual, y el macho con ella y macho tienes esa infección. Before we start, we just put a little bit of local anaesthetic in, and that way it numbs it locally at the site as well, and it usually means it's a little bit less painful and we don't need to use quite as much anaesthetic, which is so we get a tiny bit in deep testing.
Oh, you're putting that into the ball?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Just a tiny little bit, and then we'll get under the skin where I cut.
As the first castration went ahead, the local men looked on with a mixture of interest, disgust and sympathy. The castrations are generally a quicker surgery, and our little man was soon ready to go. We continued with surgery after surgery.
This is the biggest tick I have ever seen. That is huge! And it's on the tiniest little dog. Feel it squirming, it's so big.
This guy's trying to get back in there as well.
Counting 2 girls and 2 dogs for now. The first patient is nearly walking again.
Oh, look at that party. Oh, I know,
oh my god.
Mucho.
Oh, wow. This is number 3. Female dog, spaying, I think.
1, 2, 3. Did we do 1? No.
1, 2 there, and this is number 3.
Yeah, 3, and then the 2 boys. Yeah.
And then 2 boys.
And then she'll be number 4. Oh, and she's already asleep without me having to do anything, which is very handy. It's very handy, it is.
And here's the last patient for today. The 4th little girl. It's gonna get spayed.
With our final patient finished, we were invited to one of the locals' houses for a bite to eat.
Ah, tú eres un chef, gracias.
While our final patients recovered, we began packing up and said goodbye to the beautiful little village of Ensenada. We felt very close to the community here, and we were feeling pretty chuffed that all bar one pregnant female had been spayed today. But work wasn't quite over yet, with our little patient on board, needing more medication, fluids and a good feed. Each day she was looking stronger and stronger. The next morning we left our protected little anchorage, once again in the rain, to fight the seas and navigate towards our next destination of San Jose, approximately 25 nautical miles away.
Baby.
Whee! You guys stay over there.
He's waving hello.
Hi, we see you, but we don't want you any closer to the boat anymore.
As we rounded the point, the waves and wind from the south were picking up. It made our boats look like little toys bobbing around in the waves. With Joel on the tiller and me navigating and generally distracting myself from the big waves, we fought our way south. The swell was very confused, coming from the nose and the beam, making Joel's job even harder. The videos can never truly express the feeling on the boat. We were getting lifted and dropped with the engine, hull and ourselves working overtime to make sure it all went well. As the sun started to poke out of the clouds, we opted to spend the night at the only anchorage with protection from these southerly swells. Punta Cocos was around halfway to our destination and we were all pretty happy to call it a day.
Joel's having a rest after doing all the driving. Alrighty, I'm back. As I was saying, Joel's having a well-deserved rest. It was a bit of a roller coaster getting here. It was some pretty decent sized waves, not so nice weather, and we're getting thrown around a lot. I was a little nervous for the most part. Joel has crossed the Pacific and he's been in some pretty bad storms, so he was used to it, weathered it well, did all the driving, while I sat there intimidated for the most part. And meanwhile, Nika's over there putting up, you know, putting up a sail, harnessed in by herself. Crazy, something to aspire to. And I still have a lot to learn, I guess, and a lot to get used to, but it was still a good test and it helps me trust the boat more and things like that. So all in all, good little outing. We've arrived at Punta Cocos, which is a relatively protected bay from the southerly swells. We're getting a little bit of rolling, but not too much. And we're hoping for some better weather so we can try and round the point and head to San Jose tomorrow. But it'll all depend on the weather because it'll be pretty nasty fighting what we fought today trying to get over there because it's much more open ocean. But we'll see what happens. And for now, rest and relaxation, hopefully.
Join us next episode for more chuffed adventures as we get escorted off an island and have some badly timed engine troubles. Until next time, stay chuffed everybody.